I'm Foxy Cabbage, and if you're wondering why I'm dressed like a nurse, it's because I am one. Now I'm going to do something a little bit different today, and that's I'm going to talk about a specific gastrointestinal diagnosis, which is called gastroparesis. If you have gastroparesis or you take care of somebody who has gastroparesis, you are in the right place. If you're not dealing with this diagnosis, don't take these recommendations. They are specific for a gastroparesis diet. Are you ready? Okay, so some of the things I want to encourage you to do are radical, and some of the things I want to encourage you to do are super not radical. This is one of those super not radical things that I think would be a great idea for you. When you're working with a gastroparesis diet, I personally go off of the Canadian guidelines, which have a phase 1, phase 2, and phase 3 diet, depending on how severe your symptoms are. That phase 1 diet is going to be mostly broth, little tea. Phase 2 diet, oh, you got your puddings and stuff. Phase 3 diet, though, that's where you want to live most of the time. That's going to be your soft, solid foods. I want to give you a meal to start with, a magic meal, if you will, that you can kind of mess with here and there to try and figure out what's going to work for you. Because we all know gastroparesis doesn't have a quick and easy fix. It doesn't even have a single diet plan that's going to work for everybody. You got to eat these foods and see if you puke afterwards, or if you have pain, or if they're otherwise just not agreeing with your body. So for this meal, what I'm going to encourage you to do is have 3 things involved. You're going to have your base layer of carbs. That's going to be white rice. On top of that, we're going to have our lean protein. That's going to be this canned tuna in water. And then on top of that, we're going to put a veggie. And for our veggie options, I put carrots and I put beets. How exciting. We'll just do one at a time. Let's start with carrots. They're a little more non-threatening for most people, I think. So working with a gastroparesis diet, the reason that we're going to go with white rice instead of brown rice, because Foxy, aren't you always telling people to eat brown rice because it has fiber in it? Yeah, I'm telling them to eat it because it has fiber in it. And if you're working with gastroparesis, you want to be staying away from that fiber as much as possible. So this white rice is going to be a great way to get your carbs in with as little fiber as possible and also for as cheap as possible. Oh my gosh, do you know how cheap white rice is? I'm going to tell you right now. Let's see, in my notes right here. Rice, 92 cents for a 1 pound bag. That's 10 servings at 9.2 cents per serving. That's food math. That's food math right there. Do you know how much I love math? I love math. It's ridiculous. So you've got your white rice as your base layer. The next most important thing you're going to put on top of that is going to be your lean protein. Again, when we're working with a gastroparesis diet, we want to be as low fat as possible. And if you want to be low fat, getting some protein in, tuna is where it's at. I'm telling you. A nice grilled chicken breast is going to be fairly the same, but in my experience and in my opinion, tuna is absolutely where it's at. One of the other benefits of using canned tuna rather than maybe a fresh or a frozen chicken breast is you can have this sitting in your cupboard. All 3 ingredients for this meal, you'll notice, are things that you can keep in the back of your pantry. So if you're going on for months at a time and you're doing fine, you're feast or famining, and this is your feast time, you're eating pizza every night, and then suddenly, boom, you get that gastroparesis wave back again, and you're thinking, man, I'm gonna have to go back to drinking broth and tea and going back on my gastroparesis diet. This is something you can always have on hand. And honest to goodness, even if you can't handle eating the soft foods, you can throw this in a blender with a little bit of broth and you can drink it as a meal as well. I've done it. It's not the best thing. Tuna doesn't want to be blended, but you know what? It's going to get your nutrients in. So we've got our base layer of carbs. On top of that, we've got our lean protein. And then on top of that, we're going to remember that protein, fat, and carbs are our macronutrients. We all know we need those. We've heard it on TV 100 times when people say they're on a low carb diet, right? We know protein, fat, and carbs. But what we might not know is that the other 3 critically important things that we need to have in our diet are vitamins, minerals, and water. So we're going to make sure we're getting a little water in with our meal, not too much at a time because we don't want to put too much in the stomach at the same time. But we also want to be getting our vitamins and minerals, and we're going to do that by including some veggies in our meal. Even when you don't want to, I know, just get a couple of little bites in there. You can get your veggies on top of there. Now, I looked at the nutritional information for canned carrots versus frozen carrots because I want to get those frozen carrots and I want to throw them in the air fryer. It just tastes so much better than gosh darn steamed carrots. Oh, I don't want to have to be doing that. But when you're going for low fiber, you're gonna get a lower fiber content using the canned carrots. Same thing with my friend beets over here. You're just gonna do better as far as the numbers if you're going with your canned options instead of your frozen. Another bonus on that is you don't have to, oh, I gotta be careful to cook them until they're mushy. They're mushy already. You can just take them right out of the can and warm them up. Another good thing about this meal, the only thing you need to cook is the rice. And if even that is too much for you, if you're like, man, Foxy, if I can't pour it in a bowl and eat it, I'm not gonna eat it, no problem. You can get pouches of pre-made rice at the store. You can get minute rice at the store, and you don't even need to worry about the cooking part, right? So we're gonna put together this meal. We've got our protein, fat, we got our carbs, we got our vitamins, minerals. We're gonna take a little bit of water, and we're putting this all together. Now, Foxy, how much is that fancy French cuisine going to cost me? Well, I'll tell you. Did I say I like to do math? I may have mentioned that I like to do math. This meal right here, doing it, what do we do it with? Do we do it with it? This meal right here, I'm gonna start it off with the beets this time, just for variety. This meal right here, 1 serving of rice, 1 serving of the beets, and 1 serving of the can of tuna, which is a can of tuna is 1 serving. That's all gonna come to $1.19. I did that based off of the costs for these items at Walmart, buying the smallest quantities possible. So if you buy more rice at a time, like you'll see right here, I bought a 5-pound bag of white rice. You can buy a 20-pound bag of white rice and it's gonna be even cheaper than that. But the smallest amount of white rice, if this is the first time you're doing this, you're like, Foxy, I've never cooked rice in my life. Why are you telling me to buy 20 pounds of rice? You just buy a 1-pound bag of white rice at Walmart. It's gonna run you 92 cents. It's an experiment. If it fails, you're at 92 cents. And that's a bummer, but it's not a $20 bummer. You know what I'm talking about. The other math that I did for you on this meal is I looked at what your macronutrients are gonna be, and that's important here because we're trying to focus on our gastroparesis diet. We're gonna be low in fat, we're gonna be low in fiber, but we still need that protein high, we still need those carbs high. So this meal that we're looking at right here, we're doing 1 serving of rice, 1 serving of the beets, and the 1 serving, which is the can of tuna in water. The total of our nutrients for this meal, we're gonna have 28 grams of protein, we're gonna have just 1 gram of fat from the tuna, we're gonna have 41 grams of carbs and less than 2 grams of fiber in this serving for a total of 300 calories. So if you're in a tight spot, which I know I have been before with a gastroparesis, if you're in a tight spot and you don't think there's anything else in the world you can eat, you sure can eat this meal 3 times in a day, and it's only gonna get you up to 900 calories. Which is a lot more than 0 calories. I can't even tell you how many more than 0 calories that is. But 900 calories is not gonna do it for most people. So I would recommend, if you're in a really tight spot, you go ahead and supplement this with a high protein drink, like one of your Ensure Plus or Ensure Complete, Ensure and Live, one of those. I'm not brand loyal to Ensure. I just happen to know those off the top of my head. Those are the ones that are gonna run you about 350 calories for an 8 to 10 ounce serving. So if I've got 350 calories coming from my drink twice in my day, that's gonna bring me to 700 plus 900 of this. I've got to 1600 calories in the day, and I'm gonna be maintaining my weight, which you probably know can be pretty challenging when you're working with gastroparesis and it's hard to get anything at all. Another good thing about this meal is that it can be used similarly to an elimination diet. You can try, if you're not comfortable eating anything at all, you can try just the rice, see how it goes. Rice with tuna for the next meal, see how it goes. Rice with tuna and beets for the next meal, see how that goes. Cool, that went pretty well. Swap the beets for carrots next time and see how that goes. Did one of them go better than the other? Well, maybe we're gonna fall back on that meal for a little while. And this is how we're gonna figure out what's gonna be working for you. I wish gastroparesis had a one-size-fits-all solution, but I'm telling you right now, if you're watching this video, you probably already know it doesn't. It's tough. It's tough. And because it's tough, I'm gonna have more videos on gastroparesis in the future. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for being here with me today. Please hit like and subscribe. You know I love you, just love me back.